servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are gonna witness business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve Ramon and Ray. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast. Steve Ramon.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with the Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona. I'm thrilled to have you join us today. Wait to hear about this guest. You're going to love him. This podcast is dedicated to exploring the idea of doing business and living life with a purpose, serving others, and yes, achieving success. We believe that when we approach our work and our lives with a servant's heart, we can truly make a difference. We created this show for you because we want everyone to be motivated, inspired, and educated to make an impact in your world. And the key word is your. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a community leader, or simply someone looking to bring more purpose into your daily life, this podcast is here to uplift you and support you. And while you're listening to this incredible guest, and get your pen and paper ready, you're going to want to take notes. Think about how you're going to serve today and what impact you create today. Again, another key word I'd like to highlight is today. Why wait till tomorrow when you can change somebody's life today, either small or very big? And today's episode is brought to you by our amazing sponsor, Pantheon Alliance. Picture yourself joining an elite community of thriving business owners from a variety of industries, all working together to create a powerful referral marketplace. It's an incredible opportunity to expand your network and elevate your business to new heights. So impact is a big part of my monologue, and people have been listening to me for a while. Servant heart and impact, they go together. Just talking to my guest for 10 minutes before the show. Wow, what an impact. And what I love about him, he's mixed sports with business, which I think is a home run. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Steve. It is an honor and privilege to be here with you. And I am extremely excited to spend the next half hour or so with you.
Me too. This is great. Let's start with, you were telling me before the show in the green room, 35 years of coaching and business by serving. Talk about how you did that. What was your mission or thought process?
Absolutely. At a very early age, my father instilled in, we have 4 boys and 1 girl in our family, and we all played football. But my father, he was a tremendous advocate of giving back. I remember he used to serve his community at a very early age, and we would also accompany him. Well, one day he sat us down and said, it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive. It doesn't matter how much money you have. What really matters at the end of the day is the impact that you have on others. So find something that you're extremely passionate about and use that passion to give back to your community to bring others up. So my way of doing that was through coaching football. I've had the opportunity to coach varsity football as well as develop athletes literally all over the U.S. because of my business practice taking me in so many different places. And it wasn't about winning state championships. We won 9, by the way, for all the programs that I've been blessed enough to be a part of. But the impact that I've had on those kids and to see those kids flourish in real life is the real payment, in my opinion. And it has just been tremendous. And I thank God every day. And I thank my father for instilling that in us at a very, very early age.
What's your dad's name?
Dwight Shackelford.
Shout out to Dwight for being an incredible dad and showing the way for his kids. And I just have to put it out to the universe, because that's a powerful message. And it spills over to business, which we'll get in a minute. But do you think today, even more so, we need to make more of an impact on these high school kids and college kids that are playing football or whatever?
Absolutely. It's funny because through analyzing team sports and the impact a coach can have on an individual, you never know how much that impact how great that impact is going to be on a daily, weekly, yearly, and lifetime experience on behalf of that young man or young woman. So anytime we have an opportunity to guide and counsel through coaching, I think we certainly have to, take that path and run with it, because there are so many youth today that do not have those avenues of people that they can work with. And as a result of that, it impacts our community significantly. And when we see that, we have to take a step back and say, how can I make someone's life better? Even if it's for 10 minutes, you never know if that 10-minute conversation is going to change the course of someone's life. And I've seen that happen over and over and over again in over a 35-year period.
Stories are great to get the message out. Can you tell us a story of a guy you coached and how you changed him? I know you have, because I could tell in your voice, I can feel it. Tell us a good story, one or two athletes you work with.
Absolutely. There was a gentleman that I ended up working with in high school. He was in his junior year. And at the end of this, he didn't have the greatest season of the world. And his senior year, he came to me and he said, and everyone calls me Coach Shack, by the way. So he came to me and he said, Coach Shack, I'm not playing my senior year. And I said, that would be a mistake. I said, you have a lot of talent, not just physically, but also internally. I see the way that you work with your teammates. You are considered to be a leader on this team. It would be a detriment if you did not play. So I really had to convince him to play, because his junior year experience, he didn't get out of it what he thought he was going to get out of it. Fast forward, his senior year, he had one heck of a year. I mean, he ended up playing in the state all-star game here in Indianapolis, getting invited to play in that game. He was one of the top safeties in our region. And at the end of the season, he gave me a big hug and he said, thank you so much for, allowing me to play. And I get worked up when I talk about this story. So, and then this is what kid you not, Steve, about 3 weeks ago, the same young man reached out to me, and I hadn't spoken with him in, this was about 3 or 4 years. And he reached out to me via text, and he just said, thank you for all of your wisdom when I wanted to quit, because there were times in my life where I wanted to quit, and I thought about that conversation we had, and I was able to pull myself out of the gutter and be successful. And I had to call him at that point. I said, this is the reason why I coach. So it was just a tremendous story. It made me feel really good.
Power of a servant's heart right there. Audience, if there's any reason to be a servant, Stephen, Coach Shack, I love that name. Coach Shack just showed you a reason. If you did that one time in your lifetime, I think God is going to shake your hand when you get up there. Of course, we'd love to do more, but you can impact people that way. And I think you're in my head. I think we're aligned, because I was going to ask you, what has sports done for kids and you to help in business? Because you're right. He left high school 3 or 4 years, but he took your lessons and in the sport of football. So talk about that.
Yeah, it's interesting, because I've had the sincere pleasure of working for some of the finest financial advisory firms and mutual fund companies in the world over the years, over my career. And when I think back on the impact that I've made on business owners, it wasn't about, making the money. It was never about the money. It was about listening to what they need to do based on their business model and being able to add value to those business owners beyond that of just their linear focus. Because as business owners, oftentimes what you find is they're so busy making widgets that they can't really see through other areas of the business and the impacts. And that is the reason why I do what I do. It's about how can I help that business owner and help the employees within that business develop in a manner that allows them to live the lives that they want. Because at the end of the day, if I can share some insights that's going to help that business owner make better decisions on behalf of their retirement plan and their employees, then that whole community benefits. And the business owner's business will continue to flourish. They will continue to be that small business that others in the community utilize, right?
Yep.
And they'll also build a retention strategy, which is essentially building a family network within their community.
You're building your abs. It's an acronym I just came up with. A friend helped me yesterday. Always be serving. Working your abs, always be serving. And I love your focus was you meet a business owner. It's not transactional, it's transformational. The focus is off that. If you get paid, great. If you don't, you've helped somebody, you move on to the next person you help, and then the money comes, and it's come for you. You've been successful. You know, I like to say this: he's not homeless. He's not, sitting on the corner of his street. He's been successful serving. That's always about this message of Stephen. Thank you for putting that out there. The other side of this coin, which is very interesting to me, is finances. You're in financial industry, a massive emotional industry. You're dealing with people's money, their life. How do you tie in serving with that?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's about the why. So when I'm speaking with their employees, I want to get at what is their why. Their why is going to be different than the person sitting next to them. But if I can understand their why, then I can formulate a game plan around what they're trying to achieve on behalf of their organization and their employees. It's funny because in the financial markets, oftentimes you hear about investments and you hear about all these different levers that are trying to get at a financial solution. But unless you can solve for what their internal, what drives them to be successful, unless you can solve for that, you're never going to be able to solve the problem for the financials because you're not going to understand what's motivating them to drive the business and help their employees. So I would say that if you begin with the why and you have a clear understanding of the why, then you can build a financial game board around that why. And that's what we do here at Invest Financial.
Yeah, and amazing. You never talked about money, that whole conversation you just had, that whole speech. And it's not a speech. That's what I love about you. It's why. You never ask money, you never ask goals. It was why. And then those come later if it's a fit. If their why is I want to steal from every person that I has as a client, not that they would say that, but something that route, you'd be going, probably not going to work together, right?
Right. That's exactly right. And we've turned away clients as a result of that. Because at the end of the day, I have to not only feel good about what I'm doing and the impact that I'm making on those business owners' lives and their employees, we also have to make sure there's alignment in culture. And I think that's a big disconnect in the business world, especially in the financial markets these days. There's a huge disconnect because everyone is driving for the dollar. When you drive for the dollar, you forget about what makes that business owner tick, what's important to them and their families, and how are you solving for that need. Chasing the dollar is not solving a need. Chasing the dollar is the end result of trying to get at financial success. Well, if you focus on the why, you focus on their needs, you focus on solving problems, because at the end of the day, it is about the client. It's not about you. You're just able to provide additional resources to help them solve for their need. And that's the way that I always look at every business conversation. I really want to help those business owners solve for whatever their needs are, and then get down to the participant level to solve their needs as well. And if we're able to do that, Steve, and do that consistently, everybody wins.
No, and you said something I think you humbly went by that it caught my ear was, you're chasing the dollar. Guess what? That's your need. I'm a sales guy. I'm chasing a dollar with you. You're filling my need and you're flipping it and going, I want to know your need, see how it can fit. And you say no to people, which audience I've said many times, you saying no is a servant's heart because they're not a fit for you. They're not a fit for both ways. They go find somebody else that's a fit for them. And that's great. Nothing wrong with that. I kind of say the word next, next. Okay, who's the next person I'm going to serve? So I love that. Chasing the dollar is their need. I got to write that down. Skydiving. Have you ever been skydiving? Why in the hell would you do that?
You know, I've had some friends that have been skydiving on numerous occasions, and they've always tried to have me attend those sessions with them. And I've always declined because I just do not see the need to jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm a thrill seeker, but I'm not a thrill seeker at that level. That's a whole different level of thrill seeking.
I love it. I love it. Well, and it's interesting. That leads to you must be in my head because these questions are coming up. You're bringing it to me is skydiving is a risk, not a big risk, but risk management, because I do trading myself. That's the other servant's heart. Find out talk about risk with your clients.
Yeah. So, and this gets back, Steve, to the original why. So when you understand the why, you start to understand what their tolerance is for risk without necessarily saying, what's your risk tolerance? You get at it through a consultative process by asking a number of questions. Risk is different for everyone. For instance, in our industry, we have something called target date funds, where financial organizations apply a number, let's say 20 years out to someone's retirement, and think that that number is going to be managed to the individual long term. So as long as you're in this particular fund, you're going to be fine for retirement. Well, the needs of one person are much different than the needs from another. Someone else may have a higher risk tolerance versus someone else that may be nearing retirement. Their risk tolerance may be a little lower. So unless you ask the right questions to get at financially where they want to be, which ties right back into the why, right? Then you're never going to be able to set them up based on their individual tolerance. You're essentially putting them in a box. And if you put them in a box, then chances are they're not going to meet their financial goals long term. Because here at Invest, we want our clients to retire on their terms. And we actually call it work optional, right? Because some folks want to work in retirement. Yep. Well, if you want to do that, then we will set up a financial game board to allow you to do that. Whereas versus others want to go out and buy an island. Well, if that's your why, then we're going to build a financial game plan around that. We're not going to tell you what to do with your money, but we're going to consult with you to help you understand, based on your own words, your own why, how you're going to get there. And then we pull all the right levers and put all the correct resources in place to help them.
I love that levers analogy. It's so perfect. And it changes from a 35-year-old to me as a 63-year-old. Risk tolerance. And doesn't that why change? What my why at 35 is different at 63 as life goes about. So that's why it's important to talk to somebody like you, whether it's you or somebody else, to kind of put this on paper and then make the changes they need to be changed.
That's exactly right. And, and I find that all the time, working with 401k plans, what I find is the plan that was developed for a lot of these businesses, let's say 5 years ago, and the business is now flourishing and doing very well, it's the same plan in place. That same plan may not meet the needs of the business today. So we have a tagline that we typically will use. We're going to grow with your business. So as the business continues to grow, we're going to evaluate whether or not that retirement plan, that 401k plan, is still meeting your needs. If it's not, then we can talk about other ways to enhance and modify that retirement plan so that it's customized based on the growth of the business, and just as important, based on the growth of your employee base.
That's powerful. Anybody in finance or really any industry, growing with your client base is so powerful. You say that message, mate, I'm supporting you side by side. I'm not making money off you, making money off you, making money. And a real quick note, audience, I've been in situations where financial advisors have been really bad, where they've affected. I'm not going to tell the story. Some people know it. So a good financial advisor like Steven, or what he's doing for you, want to work with, because if they want to grow with you, I want to find a company right now. I'm hiring you right now. So I'm putting it out there. So the other thing with finances is, companies will go, ROI, that's the big elephant in the room, ROI. How do you handle that? I'm sure you do hear it. How do you handle that?
It's funny because that's a buzzword in the industry. What is the ROI? Well, if you think about how you're impacting the lives of the individuals working within that organization, you're going to see multiple ROIs. And the way that I describe it is you're going to see multiple benefits to your organization. Let me give you a couple of examples, Steve. Let's say that a business owner is managing a business and they're having an issue with retention, right? So you can't put a dollar sign on retention unless you understand what the issues are that are causing the retention problems. So ROI means nothing if I don't know why these people are leaving. So let's take a step back, analyze the source of the issue, correct the source. Now, with the financial guidance education that we provide, now you understand how to retain those employees through offering potentially better benefits to executives, better benefits to the rank and file employees, and reducing your tax strategy, your tax liabilities as a business owner. Now there's ROI on 3 different levels there. And if I'm able to retain a good quality employee and keep them from leaving to go across the street for $5 more an hour, and then having to backfill that position and train, and there's significant resources associated with that. Any business owner will tell you that their biggest expense is what? The bottom line, the employees. Yeah. So why not understand how to retain those employees by offering potentially better benefits, and then put the ROI in place based on the expenses associated with managing that component and looking at the value that that external party, the wealth management firm, is bringing to the business. You'll see that the expenses are far less than the overall value that you're adding to the business.
I love it. I love it. This is, audience, you better be taking notes. I've got notes myself, because and I'll get his contact, or we'll get reach out how you can reach out to him. But let's get a little personal. Let's get deeper into Steven, even though we've got really deep with you. So I got married 2 years ago at 61. You got married young. Why?
I was very fortunate. I grew up in Irvine, California, and I was extremely fortunate to meet my future wife in high school. So I actually married my high school sweetheart. She's been with me every step of the way. She's literally my right arm. We just had our 34-year wedding anniversary, by the way.
Congratulations. Cheering out there, audience.
And we've been together for over 40 years. And in fact, she's part of my team now here at the office.
That's great.
So we do a great job of separating church and state. But yes, she is my world. I would do anything for her. She's followed me all over the United States with all the opportunities that I've had and have been blessed with. And I just couldn't imagine living my life without her.
Moms and wives, you're all servant hearts. And this is a great example of a servant heart. So this is a little deeper question. So you go to a restaurant, you have a table of 4, you occupy one of the seats. Dead or alive, who would you want in those 3 other seats, and what food would you order?
I would have to say my father would be one that I would want in one of those seats. A gentleman by the name of Steve Malbassa would be another. Steve was my business coach since I was working with the Capital Group American Funds, and I was that big. I mean, he really helped me to understand the industry. Tremendous mentor on the financial side. The other seat I would have to say should be occupied by Coach Hennigan. He was my high school football coach. Just a tremendous man. He ended up, losing his life recently, natural causes, but another tremendous mentor. And the fourth, I would have to say, Scott Jarrett. Scott Jarrett is the owner of Invest Financial, and Scott, based on his life and what he had gone through at a very early age, and to see what he's achieved now based on his giving nature, his ability to interact with people and doing it for the right reasons, he would definitely have to be at that table. And the meal is simple. A good porterhouse steak and potatoes.
Okay, I'm gonna buy another seat, so make it 5 because I'd like to eat that with you. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. And what's interesting, I love asking this question, Stephen. You picked mentors. Some people will pick people they want to learn from. All good, but I love that all 4 of them are mentors in your life. And shout out to the family of Coach and who lost his life. Praying that they're healing because of that. Stephen, you showed in this podcast what a servant heart is, what a servant heart can achieve, and what a servant heart feels. I want to thank you so much. How can people find you? I know people are going to want to reach out.
Sure. Thank you very much, Steve, by the way, for allowing me to participate in your podcast. It's a famous podcast, and I know your schedule is awfully busy, my friend. You can reach me at Stephen, VEN, at investinvst.com. And my cell phone number, and it's always on, is 317-294-0358.
Awesome. We'll get this information on the show notes too. Or can you do me a favor, audience? Comment on the podcast, on the YouTube or podcast when it comes out. Put a comment in there. Like, don't like, doesn't matter. Give us critique. Love all that because it only helps us grow, me and Stephen. And we have the same name except for that one letter. No, the same letter. He just added an N because he's much bigger than I am, but that's okay. I'm still love the guy. But don't forget about my TV show, Together We Serve, every Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. I hate time zones. Always forget those, the 3-hour difference. And audience, I want to thank you, and Stephen wants to thank you for watching and listening to this podcast. And we look forward to seeing you on the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. See you soon.